Today we're going to apply the skills that you learned in our 2-point perspective skill building activity to create a work of art that represents a specific time and place. You will discover how to draw a Quarantree house using the rules of 2-point perspective. Once you can demonstrate the basics, you'll be able to personalize your work and further depict a specific time and place. You'll need a 9x12 piece of drawing paper, a ruler or straight edge, a pencil, and an eraser. The very first thing you'll do is draw your horizon line. For the demo, I dropped my horizon line just below the middle point on my paper, halfway mark. Okay, lightly draw that from left to right, making sure that it's parallel with the edges of the top and the bottom of the paper, and draw your 2 vanishing points on the left of the horizon line and the right of the horizon line. Now, following the rules of 2-point perspective that we did in the skill building activity, we're going to draw the first vertical line, which represents the corner of our main treehouse building. Okay, so we're drawing a vertical line above the horizon line because we're going to be looking up at it if it's a treehouse. Okay, and again, following the same rules, we're going to connect the top and the bottom of that vertical line to the vanishing point on the left and on the right. From here, you're going to decide how wide you want the main treehouse building to be. You complete this box by drawing a vertical line on the right and a vertical line on the left side inside that triangle that you drew. Okay, next thing you should do is erase the extra diagonal lines that you do not need. And this reveals the corners that need to be connected to the vanishing points that crisscross and they go opposite direction. So the corner on the left goes towards the right, and the corner on the right crosses over to the left. Okay, and you can erase the extra lines. You do not even need to draw all the way to the vanishing point if you don't want to. Next thing we're going to do is draw the tree trunk in. Tree trunk is going to go through the building. Okay, we're going to start by drawing kind of like a rainbow shape and then drawing 2 vertical lines going down. You can change the shape of the trunk as you go. Always draw light in case you make a mistake and you see something that you want to change. And of course, we're erasing that part of the horizon line that you do not see, okay, because it's a solid tree trunk. All right, so then we're drawing our second treehouse box or second treehouse building, and it's going to be in the front of the main treehouse. And you're following the same steps, drawing the corner, connecting the top and bottom of the corner to the vanishing points to the right and to the left, deciding how wide you want that building to be, and then erasing the extra lines. You'll erase the extra extension line and you'll erase anything that you see inside that box because again, it's a solid building. Now the second box is a little bit closer to the horizon line, but because it is above the horizon line, you will see just a tiny little sliver of the bottom side of that building. The next thing I'm going to do is show you how to create a triangular roof. First thing you'll do on the right side of this box is create an X by connecting the corners diagonally, and that gives you the center of the box where the peak of the roof would be. What you'll do with that crisscross where those lines intersect, you're going to draw a vertical parallel line. Okay, it's going to be parallel to the edge of the box, and then you're going to connect the top of that vertical line down towards the top corners of that box or the treehouse building that's closest to you. In order to close out the roof, you're going to draw a parallel line diagonally and then close that out by extending your ruler to the vanishing point. And then of course, go ahead and erase the extra lines that you do not need. Remember, 2-point perspective has a lot of extra line work that we use to draw just to get those angles right and make sure our perspective is correct and looks realistic. So how do we draw a window? The first thing I'm going to show you is exactly what not to do. When we think about windows and doors, a lot of times we think about squares and rectangles. If we draw a square or a rectangle, okay, that's even throughout the shape, okay, it does not look right. Those angles are so wrong. You can go ahead and erase that if you make that mistake. What you need to do is draw your 2 parallel lines on the left side and the right side. Okay, and then make sure you're using your vanishing point. If your window or door is on the left side, make sure you're using the vanishing point on the left. And if it's on the right, use the vanishing point on the right. Okay, that's much better. It's drawn in 2-point perspective now. All right, so how are we going to get into the building? Let's look at drawing a ladder. I'm going to start by drawing the ropes. I'm making those lines vertical. And then I am trying to evenly space these little dots or hash marks, okay, on the right rope. And what you're going to do is connect those little dash marks to the vanishing point, and you only need to draw within the 2 ropes. Notice what happens. Okay, your ruler is going to start angling a different direction because your viewpoint is going to change as you climb up that ladder. Giving a little texture to the wood panels just to make sure I connect the correct corner to the vanishing point as we move forward. From here, you're going to draw just a really, really small line on the right side of those wooden planks, and you're going to make it look 3-dimensional by drawing a line to the vanishing point on the right side. You will see just a little bit of that side. So it's a nice little detail to make sure that your picture looks as realistic as you can make it. One thing you don't want to forget is to close out that side of that little wooden plank that you're using for your ladder. Okay, and then of course each one of those planks is going to either have a top or a bottom. Depends on where it is in relationship to the horizon line. The planks on the bottom, you'll see the top. Okay, and yes, you do need to draw to both vanishing points. Make it look as realistic as you can. And as your planks get closer to the horizon line, the less you see of that third side. The plank that's directly on the horizon line, you won't even see a third side. And the plank that's on the top, you'll see the bottom side instead of the top side. Okay, so what's next? I decided I didn't like exactly where the lines for the ropes were laying, so I'm moving them over to the right just a little bit, and I'm drawing them as if they're going through the wooden planks. Okay, and you can achieve that by drawing that little curved line just like you did originally with the tree trunk going through the tree house. Then I went in and I gave my rope a little bit of texture. You can draw a chain link if you wanted to. You could draw where your rope looks like it's twisted. All sorts of different things that you can do there. So I want to make it look like my treehouse has wooden panels. Okay, so on that corner of the building, I marked it nice and evenly, and I'm connecting each one of those marks to the vanishing point using my ruler, lining it up, holding it in place so it doesn't slip. And then I'm going to kind of create that pattern of the wooden panels, okay, by drawing like you would as if you were drawing brick. Okay, it's a tree house, so there's probably some nails, so just one little detail I'm adding. And again, you are free to make yours unique. You do not have to draw the details that I'm drawing, but I'm putting in a little bit of nail work. The next thing you'll see me do is drawing a really big window, okay? Drawing my vertical lines that are parallel to the corner of the box. Connecting those lines to the vanishing point to make sure it's in correct perspective. And then I thought it might be fun to have like a little tire swing hanging from my treehouse. Okay, so I'm drawing a straight line down. It's vertical, of course. Drawing in my tire. It does not have to be a perfect shape. If you have a template, you could trace it if you wanted to. Okay, and then we're going to see the right side of the tire. So I am using my vanishing point to make that look a little bit more three-dimensional. Okay, you do that on the outside and the inside. Give it a little texture for the tire and draw on your rope. The next thing you'll see me do is draw a smaller house. Okay, it could be a birdhouse, could be a guest house. Following the same rules, drawing the corner, connecting that to the vanishing point and closing it out. Of course, we're looking at it from the bird's eye view, so we will be looking up at it and you will see that third side, so we need to close out the base. All right, let's give this little house a roof as well. Let's follow the same steps that we did before. Find the center of the left side of that cube. Okay, by drawing that X, extending the vertical line, and then connecting the peak of the house, or the peak of the roof, to the corners of the actual house itself. Okay, now you get to start stylizing. What is a tree house without a bunch of branches going through it, right? So we're gonna start drawing branches going through the buildings, okay, and connecting and expanding outwards, giving them texture, giving them smaller branches as they get higher into space. You can add things like curtains if you wanted to. It could be a complete window panel. And from here, let's just kind of watch and see how some of the different details unfold and think about what you can do to personalize your Quarantree house. If it's winter time, you wouldn't have to add any leaves, but that is a nice way to kind of fill up some space and give it a little bit of texture by adding the greenery that you might see in a tree. You're definitely going to want to add a little bit of texture to your picture. Easy way to do that is in the bark of the tree. Okay, you could add grass, you could add a little pond or some water, several different things. So remember, you are required to draw 5 boxes in 2-point perspective, so you might have to get a little bit creative with it. What else can you include in this picture? Could you draw a doghouse? Sure. Could you make it a sandbox? Why not? What else could you do? You could draw a pet. You could draw mountains in the background, maybe some clouds, maybe color with a sunset. Just have fun with it.